do what you do best and try to delegate the rest.
Welcome to Clicks and Bricks Podcast. We talk about the entrepreneur mindset, everything from that Main Street brick and mortar to that billion-dollar manufacturer. Be sure to head over to clicksandbricksacademy.com so you can access all the resources to start improving your sales today.
Welcome back today to today's episode of Clicks and Bricks. My name is Ken. Today we have Janet Ryan. She's the founder of Spectra Spray, which is a vitamin spray, and I'll let her get into the details of exactly what her product is so I don't butcher it on accident. But before we bring her on, if you would like to join my text line community, 314-370-2871. I'll never try to sell you anything. We'll just send you business tips and tricks, along with some technology tips and tricks, and every now and then some crypto news and some NFT news. How are you doing today, Janet?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Ken.
Fantastic. Can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. I'm a wellness consultant. I spent about maybe the last 25 years doing some work with doctors, nutritionists, selling supplements. And I created this company because I met a naturopathic doctor in my journey who explained the delivery system of spray vitamins and how incredible they were, because regular vitamins, people just don't know if they're absorbing them. And many people have what's called malabsorption, or they just can't absorb their vitamins.
Fantastic. So, and you're the founder of this business. Can you tell us when it was founded and really what possessed you or motivated you to get out of the working for somebody else line, which a consultant's kind of working for yourself too, but not really, right? Because you're always working for the client. But can you tell us a little about what motivated you to take that leap of faith and go into business for yourself?
Sure. It was a slow process. And I know later in the podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about patience. So we'll bring that in. But about 25 years ago, my mother had early onset Alzheimer's, and I was under 40 and my sister was about the same age. And we were very motivated to learn what we could do to try to prevent, to live a healthy lifestyle. And I started studying and reading and learning everything about Alzheimer's, inflammation. My first book I read was called Inflammation Nation, which I've shared with many people because many people still don't understand inflammation. And I really wanted to be able to promote that with people, not my vitamins at the time, but just health, stress relief, sleeping well. So I learned. I never really got a degree as a nutritionist or a dietitian, but I partnered with health systems, doctors, nutritionists, that I helped them get products, learn about testing, and they would teach me. So I've almost had like a private partnership with a lot of health professionals that were really out of the box, integrative medicine. So that's how it started. And then little by little, I worked in health clubs as a marketing and sales director, helped people get fit. I also worked in a couple of other corporate scenarios. But then I got involved with a network marketing company without naming names. And I learned so much about supplements, so much about biochemistry and things like that I got very excited to be able to either bring my own product or work with a company that was doing stellar things to help people take care of themselves naturally.
Right. It's very important in business to know where your weaknesses are and your strengths are, and partnering with other businesses or people is a vital part of the business. So a lot of people don't take that jump because they have a great idea, but they don't think that they have the expertise to execute their idea. It's absolutely okay to partner with the best breed of whatever industry you're in to bring your product or your service to life, right? And that's what you've done here.
Great point. I was trying to sell them the products, the supplements that were affiliated with the network marketing company. And in that process, I never really tried to sell. I tried to serve, listen to them. And I did learn a lot about their businesses, whether they were a doctor or a chiropractor or a nutritionist, or even some type of a local retail store. And that did give me a lot of a background for starting my own business and understanding what the obstacles would be.
Fantastic. So your product is a spray. Is it vitamins or minerals or both?
It's mostly vitamins. We do have one that's called Cal Mag. It's just a little spray, 5 inches long.
And that's is that magnesium?
This one is calcium, magnesium, but all from herbs. There's no fake like minerals in there. It's all from herbs. And you really just spray them in your mouth. A couple sprays on each side and you're good.
Okay. So I do a spray magnesium supplement just because I know the benefits of, or I know that we don't have magnesium in our diet naturally anymore, right? So
it's not in the earth, right?
No, it's no longer in our grass. It's no longer in our cattle. It's no longer in our food. So it's hard to get that. And I know specifically magnesium is important if you want to take in any protein. You can't take in your proper protein if you don't have the proper amount of magnesium. So your muscles just don't absorb it. So this stuff is wildly important, right? And we have, we haven't scorched our planet, but we have done a lot of damage and not everything is still there. So what you used to get naturally, you don't get anymore. And spray supplements is a way to get those into your body. And I know specifically, I think it's great that you said that one has magnesium in it because that's one of the ones that really absorbs well through the skin. And I am by no way a nutritionist, but
yours is dermal. Yours is skin.
Correct. The one that I use is dermal. Yes. There's
that too. Mine is the soft tissues inside the mouth goes right into the bloodstream pretty much. And then you swallow whatever's left and it doesn't need to be digested. So it's really just nutrients that you're bringing into your body and then it goes right into your system, whether it's B12 or D or CoQ10.
So are all ears in the mouth?
Yeah, they're all in the mouth.
And do they have a flavor too? So they do multiple. So it's multiply beneficial, right? Because it's also is it also a mouth spray?
It is. It has xylitol and mint, so it's a breath freshener at the same time.
Fantastic. Kill multiple birds with one stone. Absolutely. Yes. Fantastic. All right. So you were in corporate America consulting kind of thing, and you branched off and now you've got your own brand. And then we talk a lot about the mindset of business owners on the podcast, because I think those are important things. And we all run into a myriad of different situations in our daily life, right? And we have these tools that we pull from, and patience is the one that you said that you really like to talk about. Do you have tips or tricks or any information you can help, like somebody that's in business today or somebody that's thinking about starting a business and they're just grinding and they don't feel like they're getting anywhere? How do you deal with that? And how do you really dive deep and get that patience that you need to move forward?
Well, it's a long road to have your own business. And a lot of people, what I thought was I was just going to put a bunch of products up on a website. The website was going to be beautiful and everybody was going to come and buy. I had no idea that you had to do search engine optimization, that you had to advertise, that you had to go to events. Patience is definitely a virtue, but you have to have a plan. And the plan can be a simple one-page business plan. If it's a woman, you can go to the Women's Center for Entrepreneurship in New Jersey, or many states have entrepreneurship help for free, or you can get a SCORE mentor to help you make a roadmap for where you're going and understand that the first 6 months, the first year, the first 2 years, what those goals are going to be. Because you can't just throw some stuff out there and hope that it's going to work or sell. You have to do your SWAT analysis, find out the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, the threats, and all of that really takes a certain amount of time. The other tip I would give is get some legal counsel. Whether or not you need certificates or registrations could make or break your business. As far as I'm concerned, I have a trade grant for export. And every country I go into, my vitamins need to be registered there. So that's quite an obstacle. And that could cost a lot of money. If the distributor doesn't want to do it, I would have to do it. So is that in my business plan? Sort of, but with the help of the state of New Jersey giving me some money to do those things. So I'd say making a plan, having a mentor, having some legal counsel would be the start of a business, and keep your job.
So your recommendation is don't quit your job until you have enough income from your new business to support you.
Yes. And some people say it's almost better to bootstrap because then you see what really works rather than getting all this funding. And there's different fundings that you can get. Somebody can hand you $50,000, and do you really know what you're doing with that?
Right.
I went to a few events, I sold some products, and I met a lot of great people. Networking is really important. Telling them where you're going, what you're doing, people in the professional world, and they'll point you in the right direction or introduce you to other people. And one woman said to me, you need to go to a bigger event. There's a really nice women's conference in Philadelphia. $1,500. I didn't have $1,500, but I went and I got a credit card from a bank. I put the $1,500 on there and I said, darn it, I'm going to sell $1,500 worth of supplements that day. And I did. And it not just sort of paid for the event, but it told me that people were interested. We had some nice marketing materials from Vistaprint, real easy to do that right now. And we tested it. So all along, we've taken steps that showed us that we're ready for the next step. And every single step has been uncomfortable. So if you're not good at getting out of your comfort zone, never start a business.
Absolutely. I say that, I'm a business guy and I'm also an amateur boxer and I train boxing. And I tell both the businesses that I deal with and my students, like, you get really comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? It's the best place to be. And comfort is the enemy of greatness, right? If you're in this spot and you're like comfortable and you're just cruising through life, you are missing out on so much. You don't even realize it. It's really bad. Everybody thinks that they want to get to this comfortable spot and relax. But I think, that's what vacations are for, right? It's that you're never going to be at a level of greatness if that's your mindset. So great tips. Thank you so much.
Within reason, so that you're not going, bankrupt over a small business.
Right. And then, you're going to have some faith. You're going to have patience, some tenacity, right? And now what I think was very important on Janet's story is that she took a credit card out. She put $1,500 on it. That's scary for a lot of people to do especially if you don't have the money and you don't know how you're going to make your mortgage and you've never done that before, right? You've never had the conversation with a significant other of, I just put everything on the table and we might lose it. It's a very hard conversation to have, but I have faith in me and my product and I'm going to go sell it. Right. And that's the faith that you have. Slow. So, but what they don't realize or what we haven't talked about is that you did that $1,500 investment. You went to the show and your product is a recurring product in some cases, right? This is not, or it's a renewable product. It doesn't last forever. They use it. It's not infinite. It's finite. So correct. Out of that $1,500, you did how much sales did you do that day? We sold them for about $15. So we sold about 100 sprays in about 6 hours. And it wasn't even 6 hours because women would go into a conference, come out and they'd swarm our table because the banner said, welcome to the future of vitamins. And they're all going, well, what's the future? So we piqued their interest with our marketing as well. Capturing attention is huge. And then out of did you track how many came and were repeat? I have to say not many, because what happens at shows quite often is it's an impulse buy. Okay. And I thought the same thing. I started my subscribe and save and all that. So we really didn't get more than a few that rebought. They were excited. They bought it. They didn't know why they were buying it. What happens now is people know what they need, especially through the pandemic. They know that they need vitamin D. They know that maybe they're iron deficient. I even have a quiz on my site. So we've advanced so much that we're able to tailor the sprays to their needs, and then they get what they need. And now we have thousands of dollars a month on auto ship. That is fantastic. Very, very good. So I think it's normally at a show, and if you didn't track it, I'm going to guess, and it's normally a 3 to 5% is going to come back and renew that product on That's about right. Yeah. So if you go from an impulse buy at a show and they're buying your product, which is great, and that recoups your investment of that show, but then 3 to 5% of those are going to become fans of your product, right? And fans of your product or service are what everybody needs, right? It's the holy grail of business is having fans for your show or for your business. And what you did was started that process of recurring and bringing them back and back and back. So the initial investment, you're worried about the return today because you have to put food on your table. You got to pay the mortgage. But the long-term benefit is that 3 to 5% of those people are now long-term customers. They come back and buy every single month or
Plus
every
the
single quarter.
the exposure. And I met a woman there who was still standing in my mind. She goes, these are great, but you need to get into a sector that's based on the convenience. The effectiveness is great, that's given, but the convenience, the on the go. So that was the end of 2018. So the next year I started to get into travel. Then the year later, I went to a couple travel conferences, and then COVID came and travel shut down. But now we just attended 2 or 3 in travel. And I have the attention of some really big airlines, credit card companies, resorts, spas, because it's a really select, unique upscale item. But you have to find your niche. Very hard to find your niche. And she helped me at that event.
Well, and I think, so what the problem that I have nonstop in business, and I have this problem with my business is way more than I have when I'm helping somebody else with their business, is that key client. Who is that key client? Who is your buyer, right? And because Spectra Spray, you would say, man, what's my niche? Everybody on the planet needs vitamins, right?
Big problem.
But if you try to sell vitamins to everybody in the world, guess what you'll sell? You'll sell nothing. You won't have anything. So really getting that travel niche was huge. And then what kind of show did you go to? The Philadelphia show. What was that about?
Philadelphia was the women's conference. It was just a women's conference for everything for women, a lot of shopping, things like that. But
so they support women entrepreneurs in general.
Just in general, and women.
That big show that you committed to. What was the topic there?
Well, we went to New York Times Travel Show at the Javits Center. Then we went to the Travel Goods Association, which was buyers. And then this year we went to the Natural Product Expo because I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to be when I grow up. And we attracted some health food stores and pharmacies that were like, these are wonderful. We want, a couple hundred to start, and we'll see, how it goes. So I'm still playing 2 sides of the coin because COVID kind of changed things a bit.
Right. And do you sell direct to the consumer? If you go to Spectra Spray, can I just buy today?
Absolutely.
Do you have any offers for our audience?
We do. Clicks 20. All you need to do at the end when you're checking out is put Clicks 20 with all caps, and you'll get 20% off of everything. It doesn't apply to the subscriptions, but it does apply so you can get started and see what you like. And you can even take our quiz.
Fantastic. And that's at spectraspray.com. So if you go to spectraspray.com, the coupon code is Click20 or promo code. What do you call it on the site? Is it promo code or
I think it says promo code.
Promo code, Clicks20, get you 20% off. I'll be using that because for me, my doctor jumps my butt I have to do my blood panel every 3 months.
Good.
I have an alcohol problem and I had a liver issue several years ago. And so I have to do my blood panels every 3 months to make sure my levels are good. But my biggest complaint from my doctor today is my vitamin D. And I just I cannot take the dang pill every day. But I think if I had a little thing that I sprayed in my mouth, it would become like a habit. And it would be a good little habit to have, right? I don't have enough of those.
Freshen your breath at the same time with the mint flavor.
Absolutely. My wife would be happy for that, I'm sure.
Yes.
Oh, awesome. So before we wrap up the show today, we also like to talk about technology. I know I didn't prep this for you, but I'm sure Debbie did for you before you jumped on today. On technology, how do you see technology changing our life or our business in the future, 5, 10, 15 years from now? And that could be specifically in your business of the vitamin supplements or just in the world.
Marketing, because all marketing is done with data. And now we can drill down. When you said before, well, who's your audience? Who's your client? Once you decide, you can find that client. You can even hire a marketing agency to send text messages to everyone who follows a certain blogger, believe it or not.
Absolutely.
Technology is the key to selling, finding your niche, even doing research and finding out, because there's so much data there that you can use the technology to find out. And then you can proceed with a good marketing agency, or even if you're doing social media, everything on social media is based on who do you want to send this to? Who would you like to see this? Oh, a traveler or a mom who works out? You can choose that and it can find it for you.
Absolutely. So inside Facebook, inside the Business Manager ad platform, you can narrow down to people that have birthdays coming up, people that have friends that have birthdays that are coming up, wives, husbands, industries that they're in, on inside LinkedIn, you can do the same thing. And actually at clicksandbrickspodcast.com, we have a class. Our December class is completely sold out, but we have a class starting, the next one's in February, on teaching the fundamentals. It's a 6-week course, highly in depth, how to build a landing page, build your customer persona, all the way down. I teach it. It's a lot of fun. I think we price it very reasonably for people. And it teaches one of those days, one of those classes is all about finding your customer persona. And we actually go through on Facebook and show you how to build that audience, right? And there's a bunch of different ways to build the audience. So absolutely, marketing is changing the game. And what I think is so cool about marketing today is that you can have one product, and as easy as to make landing pages and to target an audience, you can have one product, make landing pages that are very specific to your niche. Make that landing page that looks like the person. If you're marketing to a 40-year-old woman, you better have a 40-year-old woman picture on your website whenever they click there, right? Holding your product, right?
All different nationalities, yes.
Right. So yeah, if you're marketing to the Middle Eastern people, right, you better have people of Middle Eastern descent on that landing page. So, and it's wildly effective today, and it's not that hard to do. It's easy. It's not simple, but it's not hard. Right. You gotta go through the motions, and there's a lot to know. But once you know those things, you can really unlock a whole lot of things for your business.
The last thing I'd like to say is do what you do best and try to delegate the rest.
Absolutely. Huge.
You can't do it all. There's companies that do like you. There's companies that do things better within reason. Find out a cost that's going to work for both of you as a startup company. Many companies are willing to work and grow with you.
Absolutely.
You have to just decide what you're good at. I'm really good at sales. I'm really good at education. I hate doing QuickBooks. I do it because I can't afford to pay somebody every day to put my sales in.
Right.
But there's other things that you can have other people do, like the social media posts. I hire a virtual assistant 3 times a week. They go up. It costs me a couple $100 a month. I'm done.
Where do you get your online or your virtual assistant?
Actually, I was referred to her through the Chamber of Commerce. So that's another good connection for people wherever you live across the country.
Okay. We just moved. We have virtual assistants all over the world, and we used to use Upwork almost exclusively, but onlinejobs.ph has really stepped up their game. They have a whole bunch of stuff, and the talent there is phenomenal. Like, you can get a lot of great talent for, $500-600 a month. You can have full-time employees.
Yes,
your social media for you.
Redid my whole catalog. It was only a couple $100. A couple in the Philippines, and they were lovely. They got on the phone every time with me and figured out what to do.
I think the caveat there is that you have to have the direction. It's really hard to hire people of a different language that have to have some subjective labor in front of it, where they're making decisions.
I would never do that.
Right. So if you're going to hire a BA, they have to have very, very specific direction. So as a business owner, you don't have to know all the ins and outs of something, but you have to know the basic fundamentals, right? And then issue those out to your staff, or have somebody on staff that does know those fundamentals if it's not you, if you're going to hire that out. So just like on your accounting, you're doing a lot of it today. If you're going to outsource that, you need to know some basics of general accounting practices, just so that you know that you're not being taken advantage of by your accountant, which is the person that can take advantage of you the easiest, right? Yes,
and I actually have an advisor. So every quarter she sits with me and teaches me more or answers my questions. And you know what's interesting about doing your own tracking of sales and all that? You see the people that are rebuying or that are auto-subscribed. And when you have a new business, you need to know. I mean, I'm really good at remembering names and numbers and all. So when I see that name, if a new sale comes in, I'm like, I automatically know that's a new customer. Or I go, oh, Joey ordered again. It matters in the beginning because there may be somebody you want to reach out to. The customer service and the tender, loving care that you give your customers really, really matters in a small business. I write on every order. I don't have a fulfillment center yet, and eventually I will. But you know what? I kind of like writing happy holidays. Thank you, Joanne, whatever. Right. And I think they appreciate it too. Sometimes they'll text me or they'll email, not overwhelming. And I feel that they have a relationship. You don't have that relationship with Amazon.
My wife puts candies sometimes in the...
Great idea.
Yeah, like little breath mints and stuff like that. So just like little breath mints, things like that.
Great
Sometimes
idea.
a Tootsie Roll she'll do on her business. So yeah, just a little
That's
weird
a great idea.
on the repeat buyer. She'll just throw some weird little candies in there. And then she gets, surprisingly, just that little touch gets a lot of social media comeback. Like, hey, I just bought this. Look what they sent me extra, right? And
I love it.
You know, a 10-pound bag of Tootsie Rolls is a couple bucks. So it's super cheap to do, and you make your customers super happy.
Dark chocolate,
Fantastic.
it's healthy.
Absolutely. So before we go, Janet, do you have anything that you would like to leave the audience with?
I guess the most important thing about starting a business is take enough time to really think about it. Like I said, plan it out, get some mentors, and network, whether it's in person or there's a lot of online network, and be sure of what you're trying to do so you can tell people what you're looking for. Don't just,
Absolutely,
throw up all over them and talk and talk and talk.
And make sure that this is what you want to do, right?
Well, you may not know. You may not know.
So start slow, taste it, see if you like it. And if you like it, then run with it. But sometimes we get ourselves in these positions and we get in over our heads and we're like, man, this is not what I want to do. This is horrible. I don't like doing this, right? And I know that I've put myself in that position a couple of times in my life. I've started a business, did the work, thought I'd love the work. And I'm like, man, I hate doing this work. This is horrible. I don't want to do this anymore. It takes too much time, too much energy, and the benefit's not enough. So, yeah, you got to make sure that you do whatever you're doing, you absolutely love it if you're starting the business. Today, we live in this world where, like, you can have side hustles and start your business really easy. You can Uber, Lyft, like you've got all these options to get cash in your pocket and take these risks because today isn't like it was when I was a kid. It was hard to find a job. You had a really low employment rate. Now you can go back to corporate America. I think it would probably take less than a day for most people to find a job if they needed to in today's market. So I don't think there's ever been a better time to start a business and take that risk than right now.
And you know what, Ken, it does depend, I think, on where you are in life too. Like you asked me, how did I go from working for somebody else to working for myself?
Right.
I was probably late mid 50s. And I met with my first SCORE mentor and he says, oh, you know, all this information about genetics and blah, 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 blah. Some company could really use you, could really hire you. I said, I didn't come for you to tell me that I can go get hired. I came because I want to start my business. So
I didn't come this far to only come this far. I came this far to crush it. Right.
Because of my age. I want to do what I want to do. I'm also a piano teacher. I went to school for music. I'm a classical pianist.
Fantastic. That's got to be fun.
I still teach. And people, why are you still teaching? People say to me. I said, because I love the children. I love them. 2 a day. That's all I have.
Yeah. I have my kids at the boxing school and I could not do it. I couldn't imagine my life without my youth team and doing that. It'd be way less fulfilling.
It's who we are. It has
absolutely,
to be,
it is.
Your business may be who you are, but there may be other things that you don't give up that fuel you, that make you feel good, and that bring out your humanity. So that's another piece of advice. I wouldn't give up. Be careful of how you take away from your family or your children. Make sure your life is in balance. Nothing is worthwhile if it's not in balance.
Right. I like to include my family as much as possible in the businesses. So that would be my trick.
If they want you to.
They're included either way, right? It puts the roof on their head. So they get to come. Anyway, thank you so much, Janet, for your time today. It was a pleasure. And that's it for today's show, folks. Again, my name is Ken. This is Clicks and Bricks. If you'd like to join my text line community, it's 314-370-2871. I'll never try to sell you anything. Tips and tricks, business technology, NFTs, and crypto. That's it today. Get to work.